glorious night here, Sepang. What a glorious night here in Malaysia to conclude the split season once and for all for the 2023 Hololive GT3 Japan Series. While the overall split and split championship has been concluded in dominating fashion by Callum Gibbons, the split B title is still up for grabs. And since we're here in Sepang, we have a good evening here in Sepang's Selangor. Track length 5.5 kilometers and of the Sepang National Circuit here. 15 corners in total, 46 laps of racing is to be due. 205.906 has been possible. Hell, we've seen a 205.2. So maybe if we could see a 204, that is a bit of a long shot, but we'll have to try. It's a split season finale. This is the true last split B race and the true last split race of the 2023 Hololive GT3 Japan Series season. And now we have it's a Formula F1 Super GT, Formula F1 and Super GT circuit. Obviously, F1 used to race here, so the Super GT, they've no longer been here. All the bike racing is still a thing, and the sports car racing. And speaking of contenders in sports car racing, we only have 5 contenders left in split B, of course. From Vladislav Domaschnev to Daniel Barger. We're going to get into them in just a bit. Now let's take a look into the new entries coming into this season. So just wanted to show you of the new entries here. We literally have this guys. Zach Champagne replaces Mika Margush in the Amane Kanata Nissan. Hopefully this change will be permanent. And then we have Maverick Ill representing Shishiro Botan. He replaces Kento Kai. And that is that. So anyways, let's take a look into the championship order here. Obviously, the Split A and overall split championship has been settled with Callum Gibbons taking the crown here in one of the most dominating fashions we've seen. But for Split B, it's still up for grabs. We'll take a look at Vladislav Domaschnev, especially. He needs a win or second place, regardless of where everyone else will finish, in order for him to secure the Split B championship. And then we have Jeff Clark for Nakiri Ayame. Jeff Clark, of course, also needs the results to go his way, as does Kizuhara Leo, as well as Johan Sinful and Daniel Barger. Now, if you want to look into the championship prospect between the drivers, of course, Vladislav Domaschnev is the clear favorite, but we've seen underdog performances come up now and then, and usually the Split B Nissans are better than the Split A Nissans. So that is one thing you can probably take away. So for Jeff Clark, he can win if he can win the race and hope that Vladislav Domaschnev finishes third or lower, as does Kizuhara Leo. If he wins and Domaschnev finishes third or lower, and the Ayame car finishes second or lower, that means Kizuhara Leo will be crowned a champion. Although if he will be in second place, it will be a bit harder for him to be in a confirmed spot. For Johan Sinful, he can win this race, hope that Vladislav Domaschnev finishes 6th or lower, Clark finishes 4th or lower, and Kizuhara Leo finishes 2nd or lower. But for Daniel Barger, he is the only driver here in a must-win scenario. Obviously, he has to win this race, hope that Domaschnev finishes 13th or lower, for Jeff Clark to finish 8th or lower, Kizuhara Leo to finish 7th or lower, and Johan Sinful finishing 5th or lower. So what we have for you is some interesting split battles to come away, and here is the trophy for the Split B champion. Obviously, we've given the overall Split A trophies to Count Gibbons, so because he has already won both of these titles. But here is the Split B trophy, still up for grabs for these 5 drivers. So we're gonna go into intermission here. Just gonna need to sort out a few things here and all that thing to set up the start of this qualifying session. I'm Mama Shazarez in the commentary booth, and it's still going to be a one-man booth as it stands. So anyways, we have this session finally getting underway. Oh, it's gonna be pretty exciting to see who is gonna be the winner here. Kizuhara Leo, obviously excited for him to finally be able to be in championship contention. He was there in 2022. Obviously, he wasn't in the best of championship format. Not exactly in the best of form here. But right now, Leo has definitely blossomed himself in this season with a win at Fuji in Split B in early March. That really bolstered his confidence for him to secure better results. And for Leo, actually did pretty well in the last few rounds. Looking at the Split B one, he is only a few seconds away and basically 4 tenths away from stealing the win away from Johan Sinful, who wins at Motegi, and that win also puts Sinful in championship contention. And at Tsukuba, although he has finished 9th, he still is in this championship because it's way closer in Split B than in Split A. Let's just hope that we're treated to some very entertaining championship battles. Not many drivers have gone out on track just yet, but that's going to change sometime soon. Maverick Ill replacing the outgoing Kento Kai. Kento Kai, of course, having some personal issues that prevents him from taking any further part in the ARO for both Hololive GT3 and Formula Hololive. Ill is looking to be quite the guy. He's got some motorsports connections, and hopefully Ill can definitely show up. He's right from Hong Kong. He's got friends who races in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo championship in Europe. So he's got some motorsports background. He just needs to get used to this Lexus RCX GT3 in his maiden outing. Daniel Barger for Hoshimachi Suisei. Nice to see a lot of viewer turnouts here. He is basically in a must-win scenario and hope that all of his title contenders finish very badly. That is if Daniel Barger wants to have any shot of winning this Split B championship. So anyways, we're about to get into the end of the slot. Let's go on board the number 41 Hoshimachi Suisei Nissan. Exiting turn 15, hanging around in second gear on this Nissan. Get the best exit possible. Plant down the throttle as carefully as possible as well, as this is slightly off cambered. Anyways, 1 kilometer long straight heading into turn 1. Look at the braking markers for the 100-meter board. Hanging around first gear, maybe second gear. Downshift to the first gear to turn 2. I think it's the slowest corner on the track. And then we have this long turn 3. We'll have to lift off just a bit there. Just not confident in his grip. 100-meter board, head braking into turn 4, 31.034 for the Israeli driver. Turn 5 and 6, long and winding S section. Oh, he definitely understeered into turn 6 there. He carried a lot of speed there, too much. Brake into the 50-meter board, into this double apex right-hander, turn 7 and 8. And get a good run here into turn 9 here. Just brake at the, once again, to the access road before the 100-meter board. You can slow down just a bit. Oh, he really tries to throw it around the corner. Turn 10, he had to lift up just a bit here, 116.620 on his second sector. On turn 11 here, you're basically braking while turning, as does turn 13 and 14, but first you have to deal with turn 12. Lift off just a bit. Here's the corner where it tightens up dramatically. You have to brake while turning, and that can really unsettle the car sometimes. Try to get a good exit possible off of turn 14 for this 900-meter long straight. Look into the right here for the access road for your brake clues or your brake markers, and there it is. You are braking into turn 15, and that is a lap here in Sepang. And there it goes. That's a lap here in Sepang, 26417 for Barger. Meanwhile, Shongo Lyle has been showing. We did mention that Maverick Ill has got some motorsports connections, and that actually puts that to good use here, as Ill is currently in provisional pole, 2:05.365. We did mention that there is a lap time expectations, there's a lap time target for all these drivers to try to achieve. Scratch that, Jeff Clark with the provisional pole time, 2:05.282. Let's pay attention on to where everyone else is at. Alex Graham is about to complete his lap. It's going to be a 2:06.651. Sinful gets up to third. Danilo Goyana exiting, coming into turn 15. Let's see where he places his Usada Pecora Honda. Here are the rabbit decals onto the sides of the car, onto the window sections to commemorate the year of the rabbit. And Goyana places his car 14th. Not good at the moment. Zach Champagne in his Hololive GT3 debut 7th. Shaka Freza 9th for Momosu Zunene. Plaza Domaschnev. This is the guy that we need to pay attention. He has been very amazing all season, and that continues to be the case. Plaza Domaschnev, provisional pole sitter. Lexus are one car short coming into split B, but that is not going to be an issue because it's currently a top 5 lockout for the Lexus cars. Sean Galal is trying his best to try to get not a good lap here, but Galal says, I think that's enough. I am going to place my car into the pits. The Hondas have not been showing up here. All of the basically Nissan, Lexus, and then 6 more Nissans, and the remaining Hondas, well, all 6 of them are currently down in the bottom 6. It's a Lexus show at the moment here. Maverick Ill just keeps improving. Let's see if he can spoil the party of some of these championship contenders. Now, Clark can try to win this race and hope that Domaschnev finishes 3rd or lower. But other than that, if Clark can do so, Clark can be in the lead and Domaschnev is in 2nd and all that stuff. That would mean that it's still going to be in the way of Domaschnev, but currently Domaschnev is your provisional pole sitter. So if it stands like this, Domaschnev will win the Split B championship. Let's see if Il can get an improvement on his lap time here. He's only 0.004 of a second slower than Domaschnev. He has gained a few bits of time compared to Domaschnev on that first sector. Let's see if Il can steal a bit more lap time on that final sector. Taking it easy into turns 13 and 14. Really trying to make use of the exit. See here how close it is between the Lexus drivers at the moment. Only 900ths of a second between Clark and Domaschnev. It can be a very intense fight. Hope that it doesn't become a runaway, just like what happened with Gibbons and Bauer. 2:05.151 for Maverick Ill, new provisional pole sitter. Clark just needs a better run, better compared to Il if he wants to have a crack against Domaschnev. Remember, Maverick Ill is only 200ths of a second faster than Domaschnev. The margins are going to be tight and close, and currently he has the Nissan of Richie Roy in front of him, and that's going to probably pay him some favors. Does not improve. 2:05.367. Clark is in 3rd. Back here in Sepang, apologies for the slight interruptions here. Anyways, it's still status quo at the moment. The Hondas have not seen a lot of improvements here. So you can see here, Kizaru Leo. He might think of getting back into the pits here. We're just gonna need to go to intermission just a bit. Yeah, we have confirmation that Kizaru Leo have returned to the pits here to get his change of tires here. Let's see if he can get himself closer into the top 10, into the top 5. Anyways, looking at Lorenzo Ricci, 146 for him at the moment as the times keep ticking. We have Maverick Ill finally coming into the pits after having a very good run in his Hololive GT3 debut. He might just be in pole position. I mean, it's an old guard showcase here at the moment. Well, you see these title contenders, they are mostly currently in either Gen 0, Gen 1, or Gen 2, with the exception of Shazad Reza, of course. He represents Himamori Luna, Gen 4. Ricci currently sits 4th place, and let's see if we can see some improvements for him. Wimberly has to deal with last place at the moment, but not for long. He's gonna have to have another crack at getting another lap. Let's see if he can at least beat his Honda teammates. Sean Goliath is currently the best Nissan in the field currently, although the gaps are absolutely worrying. 1 second slower than the Nissan, than the Lexus cars, who have been absolutely dominant here in Sepang as of late. Sean Goliath, let's see where his lap times go by. He actually improves, but it's still not going to be enough, I don't think. Looking at his current lap time standing, he is currently still 6. He did see improvement, except the Nissans are just not showing up enough to the Lexus car. They're currently mid-pack, but it's not going to be enough at the moment. Daniel Barger, he needs a win here in Sepang for him to at least have a shot of winning the Split B Championship, but that right now it's not meant to be. Kizaru Leo is currently on his second lap. What's that? First lap out, and it will be his final run in this qualifying session. Kizaru Leo, of course, representing Murasaki Shion, who is also due to perform in her anniversary live, 5 years in Hololive, for quite the young age. Murasaki Shion. Kizaru Leo is only a 1/10 of a second slower than Maverick Ill on that first sector. Let's see how did the second sector go here. Anyways, the 17th of August is the date for Shion's 5th anniversary live stream. So if you're Shioko, if you're a fan of Murasaki Shion and her content, you can, of course, head to Shion's channel, 8 p.m. Japanese time, to tune into Shion and her guest members coming in to perform with Shion. Anyways, Kizaru Leo, let's see how he does in this second sector, and it's very worrying here. Only 1.1 seconds. We wonder if there's going to be some improvements between Leo and the rest of the field. But remember, the Hondas are only slightly better on the straights. Well, better than the Lexus cars on the straights, but slightly worse in the corners. Kizaru Leo currently in the back straight here, looking to complete his final lap in qualifying. Remember, he is the 3rd best driver in this title hunt. And right now, with Kizaru Leo crossing the finish line, he's not going to have a lap time of a 2:05. No improvements, unfortunately for him. Only only a few drivers left. Only have a few drivers left here at the moment. Richie, Grant, Champagne, Rod, Sinful, Ill, Wimberly. But Daniel Barker is going to be the last guy who will complete this qualifying session. There is a massive note here at the moment that these Lexus drivers are basically very much vulnerable on the straights. Let's see if the Nissan drivers can beat some of these Lexus drivers on the straight before turn 1. Sangalile in particular is lining up with Johan Sinful at this rate. Daniel Barger crossing through to the final corner, hanging around turn 15 here in second gear, and he's going to be the last guy to cross the line. And that will be the end of the Split B qualifying session. The last Hololive GT3 Japan Series Split season qualifying have come to an end, and pole position goes to Maverick Ill. Maverick Ill representing Shishiro Botan in that number 43 Lexus. The starting lineup here in this Sepang 500 Split B race: Maverick Ill with a 205.151. Let's see if we can do a 204 somewhere along the line. For Shishiro Botan, Domaschnev is in a position where he can be guaranteed to win this championship. Win the Split B championship, that is, for Akirose. For Nakiraya, Jeff Clark needs a win and hope that Domaschnev finishes third or lower for him to win the Split B championship. Lorenzo Ricci having a good run for Hosho Marine in a 4th place. Let's see if he can convert to a podium position. Johan Sinful is currently 4th best in this qualifying session. Sorry, the worst Lexus in this qualifying session, but he's still in 5th. Just shows you how good the Lexus is currently on this race weekend. Sinful needs to have results go his way if he wants to win the Split B championship. Sean Galal, best Nissan in the field, is currently 6th overall for Minato Aqua. Fellow Nissan teammate Richie Rod in the Shirakami Fubuki Nissan starts 7th. Daniel Barger for Shimachi Suisei starts 8th. As it stands, he's not going to be winning the Split B championship. Well, let's see if fortune favors him, representing Hoshimachi Suisei. For Amane Kanata, debutant Zach Champagne starts 9th for Amane Kanata. Al Santaro out 10th place for Nakamata Okayu. Shaka Freza 11th place, 206.360. First guy outside the top 10, representing Momosu Nene. Kizuhara Leo, best Honda currently in the field. All Hondas currently in the bottom 6. It's a bit of a concern, as Kizuhara Leo represents Murasaki Shion. 4 days before Shion is due to have her performance. Anyways, Alex Grant as well in for Yukon Alami starts 13th. Daniel Goyena for Sada Pecora starts 14th. Sean Pauly 15th, beat Daniel Bolata, Zeke Wimberly in 16th and 17th for Inagami Korone. Daniel Bolata for Takayami Toa in 16th, and rounding out the field is Zeke Wimberly for Okami Mio. Obviously, let's not forget to mention that next Tuesday, Minato Aga will have a performance coming up on, how do we say this? Basically her 5th anniversary live. So let's just hope that things go, you know, the way of Sean Galal as he tries to have a good performance. So, and also there's Okami Mio's live, which will be on August 20th, but that's a bit far away. That is literally in the Formula Hall Live Split B weekend. But anyways, let's get this race session underway. We have Lhasa Domaschnev in 2nd place. Second is what he needs to secure the Split B championship. Maverick Ill, debutant, is currently on pole position. First with Hololive GT3, he ends up on pole. 5 drivers in contention for the Split B title here in the Sepang 500 km Split B race. And when we finally can get underway, it's a decent start here for a lot of these drivers here. The Lexus cars are pulling away. No issue here. And as you can see here, Jeff Clark tries to go side by side. And I think there's contact between multiple drivers. Domaschnev gets shuffled down to third. There's contact between Richie Rod and some of the other drivers here. He gets spun out. Is he able to continue? Yes, he does. But it's been a very messy first set of corners here. As you can see here, a lot of drivers having damage. We have Maverick Ill currently leading this race. Jeff Clark is in second, but as it stands, Vlasta Domaschnev will still be champion because the gap is still enough for Domaschnev to still be positioned. You can see here Alex Grant having a very good start here. Meanwhile, Leo hasn't had the best start. Gets jumped by Antanarao actually. These drivers have been involved in the melee between themselves and Rod. Rod is currently trying to come back after all this. So anyways, back into the scenarios here. Ill is leading, Clark second, Domaschnev third, Richie fourth, Sinful fifth, Lyle and Champagne sit 6 and 7, Shakireza 8, Barker 8th, and the sole Honda inside the top 10, Alex Grant. No drivers making mistakes here in turn 11, not yet at least. Goyena trying to find a way past Wimberley. Obviously the hunter hunts the hunter, but for now nothing comes of it. Goliath is looking for an opportunity to attack Sinful here. The main straight definitely benefiting the Nissans the most. Jeff Clark exiting turn 15 to start lap 2 here alongside Maverick Hill. Looking into the current title permutations, it's still the title still goes by the way of Domaschnev. As it stands, the Rosenthal are going to be excited here, but Goliath is going to start disrupting the Lexus party. Number 9 against number 7. I think Goliath has attacked way too hard, and I think that's going to put him out of the race because that has been quite the collision, and I think he might not be able to continue. Yeah, oh, the car is moving. A very ambitious move by Goliath, but he ends up spinning. Although he manages to continue, he will definitely be outside the top 5 now. And he's got to be worrying about this race there. 4 Malaysian drivers, one Malaysian driver already out. Sean Goliath is currently down in 16th. You can hear him screaming in the radio here. God damn, he said. And rightfully so. He has every reason to be quite angry about his mistake. Tried to go deep on a gap that is closing, that is about to close. The Aqua car just not being very lucky in recent times. But anyways, Jeff Clark still looking to try to pass Maverick Ill for Clark to win the Split B Championship. As it stands, Domaschnev is down in 3rd. We have Zach Champagne, who is currently closing into Johan Sinful. The Americanata car trying to close the gap to the Natsuiro Matsuri Lexus. You can see here some battles trying to form here, and you can see here as well Goliath actually slowly getting himself back into the back of Pauly and Bolatev. But for Champagne, he might need to wait here. He is literally the guy behind Sean Goliath when Sean Goliath made a mistake. But right now, he has finally got himself back up to Sinful. Sinful obviously having the superior grip in the corners. You can see here Champagne understeers into turn 2, trying to find what little gap is available, or what little grip is available on that Nissan in the corners compared to Lexus, of course. Alex Grant holding on to 9th place here. Kizara Leo is in 11th. Not ideal for Leo to be in this predicament, but he's trying his best. Champagne, let's see if he can be as close as possible to Sinful, especially in the corners, for him to very much line up a move against Sinful. He definitely has pace there. Debutant in Hololive GT3, best Nissan currently in the field. Let's see how much this order is going to shake up. Right now, there's not going to be any more battles in the back, but right now, the Champagne, the gap has opened up to 1.3 seconds, but it's definitely going to close back up into the straights here. Let's see how much damage Champagne can limit himself. Maverick L fastest lap of this race so far, 3 laps complete, 2:05.574. Definitely faster than Clark by quite a margin. Clark needs to, at this point, hope that Domaschnev loses more positions. But as it stands, it's not going to be the case. You can see here that Champagne have really lost a good amount of pace to Sinful up front. It still lacks a stranglehold here in Sepang. Any Lexus driver winning here would match the record for most wins by a manufacturer in Sepang. It's currently being held by Honda with 3 wins. Leo's looking to find a way past his fellow purple compatriot, Alston Tarot. Was there a gap opening up in turn 7 and 8? There is no gap. Let's see if he can close back up in turn 9. The gap has opened up between Antenna and Leo, so it's not going to be possible. Ooh, you can see here it's almost a spin for Wimberley. But Wimberley I can see he's barely able to keep the car straight up into the racetrack. Champagne have really opened up the gap here. It's not looking good for Champagne. Down in 6th place and looking to find a way back into the top 5. Four laps complete here in Sepang in the Sepang 500 Split B race, and currently it looks to me that I can't really tell at the moment here between the drivers here, because right now everyone is going single file and everyone's just going to be trying to look for any opportunity that they can find. So let's just share with you a bit of a fun fact about some of the Hololive members that are being represented here in the Hololive GT3, and let's start with one of the title contenders, Domaschnev. Well, we've had stories that Akirose can hide a lot of things from under her skirt, and of course with her being a half left and a half elf that heals, she can definitely carry up a lot of surprise for anyone watching the stream. She has done a few bits of ASMR. She has that big sister like personality for some of you who would like that kind of personality, and of course Akirose has seen a lot of appearances in the Origin Idol uniforms. So Akirose, the performance in Hololive GT3 is definitely reflected with Domaschnev. Already won a race, and I think that was in Tsukuba. He has already amassed 2 wins for Akirose in his Hololive GT3 career, and right now he wants to try to make it his 3rd, but of course he needs to beat Clark and Ill up front, which says something. can see here Barger trying to line up a move on Shakib Reza, but he's way, well, not close enough. Galal and Rod aren't really catching up to Polly and Bolatev. Galal and Rod, of course, having that spin and turn 1 on laps 1 and laps for Richie Rod it's lap 1 and for Galal it's lap 2. So right now, these two Nissans are currently out of the equation for race wins, but they might be able to sneak into top 10s if needs be. The gap has really opened up between Sinful and Champagne here. The battle for 6 have definitely died down. But then again, it's the early stages of this race, so can't really rule out anything just yet. Bolatev, 14th place for that Tokoyami Toa, and you can see here some Nissan UFO sponsorship because Toa has definitely collaborated with Nissan's UFO brand to promote their UFO line of ramen, the cup ramen. Toa is on an active promotion, so that's why the car is currently in the side of the car. But especially in the case of Toa, she did have a mini live to help promote the Nissan's UFO thing in Hololive's Origin Idol uniform. So that definitely helps the cause as to why the logo is currently in the sides of this Tokoyami Toa Honda. Back into the racing here in Sepang, and currently the gaps have opened up between first and second, 5.5 seconds between Il and Clark. Paces between these drivers have completely somehow died down. It was at a 205, now they're dropping down to a 207 due to tire wear. 208 for the guys at the back, and that's not going to do them any favors if they don't want to get lapped. Looking at Johan Sinful right now, the gap has opened up between himself and Ricci. And speaking of Ricci, very good race here at the moment in Hololive GT3, of course. We want to talk about Hosho Marine. She has definitely made a good amount of appearances in the original Idol uniforms that has seen appearances since 2020. But especially in the case of Marine, she is definitely still a fan of these Origin uniforms. Although she has seen appearances in bright uniforms, I would like to believe that she prefers the Origin uniforms a bit more. Sinful trying to catch Ricci, but the gaps have definitely opened up. It looks like the cars are open, having their gaps opened up. Domaschnev, though, he is slowly trying to creep his way into second place against Clark. Now looking into the permutations here, if Domaschnev finishes third, he will be at about 630. And currently looking at Jeff Clark, 433. It's not going to be enough. We will be 30 points short of Vlasa Domaschnev, and as it stands, Vlasa Domaschnev is still going to be the Split B champion. We are officially 16% off into this race here at the moment, and currently the odds are in Domaschnev's favor, as we've spoken earlier. He's in the guaranteed spot to win the Split B championship, unless Clark can steal the lead away from Il, who is currently having an amazing race at the moment. up to the gears, uphill into the S section here at turns 5 and 6. Drivers are currently doing so as it stands, and now Goliath, despite having that spin earlier in the race, Goliath is now back up to, at the gearbox of Polly. It's gonna be spicy and interesting to see how Goliath's gonna deal with Polly and Bolatev up front. They're currently just barely in the points. Nice to see we have a good viewer turnout here, at least relative to our other streams in the past. So looking into the current situation at the moment, the battle for second place might just be brewing, but it's mostly just between second and third. Clark and Domaschnev are currently embroiled in a title showdown. We're gonna mention it again. Domaschnev is in a position to win the Split B Championship as it stands with Clark in second place. Remember, if they stay like this, Clark will still be 30 points behind Domaschnev. Wait, no, wait. And we need to do a bit of recalculation. Yep, they'll still be 30 points back. So still not going to be enough as it stands. Last race here in Sepang, which is basically last night, we have seen pit windows open as early as around lap 15, lap 16. So right now we're not going to be seeing any form of lap activity, pit stop activity currently soon. Looking into the current options here, Daniel Barger is currently in 8th place. Well, you can see here there might be a move between Alex Grant and Barger here. Barger can shuffle off wide. Alex Grant coming into the inside of turn 7 and 8. That's another good move here by Alex Grant. The Yuki men have something to be excited for, as their car and the VTuber they represent are currently in 8th place. And now we have Leo and Antanara side by side. Leo also trying to follow up what Alex Grant did. Now Leo's is inside the top 10, and Barger's now dropped down to 9th, and Tanner's dropped down to 11th. They have been side by side exiting turn 8. Leo has the inside line into turn 9. It's going to be pretty interesting here to see how Grant and Leo are going to be clearing the other Nissans here. They have pace in the corners, which the Nissans just clearly don't have. There might be rumors circulating that there might be a technical directive for all cars in Hololive GT3, and their performances will be adjusted accordingly based on current performances. Right now, we can confirm you that they are currently researching on what is the best method to balance out the order here at the moment. As you can see here, Galal trying to challenge Polly down the inside. Galal has the inside line. Oh, bit of a tap here between Polly and Galal. Galal having a good exit off of turn 2, has the inside line into turn 3. Galal is back into the points. Great driving here from the Malaysian driver. He's now up in 15th place. Sepang should be a place where he should be familiar. Home race after all. So Goliath has something to fight for, and right now he wants to try to make his locals proud. And there might be another battle here between Leo and Barger here into turn 7 and 8 here. Leo did the same thing to Barger, basically the same thing to what Grant did to Barger, but here's a difference here. Barger manages to defend the inside line into turn 9, and that in turn, sorry, he did manage to defend around the outside of turn 9, which in turn becomes the inside line into turn 10. So Barger still manages to defend a 9th place. So Belial knows that he's currently in a position where he might just be able to get into the top 10 after that spin he had. He has already overtaken Sean Pauli like a lap ago. Sorry, not a lap ago, right at the beginning of, let's say, lap 10. Right now, we have started lap 11 of this race. The race is continuing with all 17 drivers currently still in it. Domaschnev has lost a bit to Clark, but crucially, Clark have closed up just a bit to Maverick Hill. So Clark knows he might have a car suited for the long, the long run. And if Clark can continue at this performance, and if Domaschnev can clear Maverick Hill to put himself into second, Clark might just be the winner of this Split B, winner here in Split B. And the gap between them should only be 3 points. Because in the event that Jeff Clark wins, he will have 633, and assuming that Domaschnev finishes third, he will only have 630. So Jeff Clark will be finishing ahead of Domaschnev by 3 points. Razor thin margin, if you want to call him that. So anyways, Goyena still in 13th place here, chilling with Wimberley in 12th place. Not looking to be aggressive at this stage of this race. We're almost confident in saying that we have already passed the quarter mark here in Sepang, the Sepang 500 Split B race. Loss of sponsorship here in Sepang that is related to Hololive. You have seen the Hololive City sponsorship. Basically, Hololive integrating themselves into a city, which they can provide the Hololive experience to anyone coming to the city. Helps with tourism as well. And then we have the Splash Party banners here, which should promote the upcoming Summer Live in the August 26th and 27th weekend. We're gonna have a race on that weekend as well in Japan in Sportsline Sugo. Don't worry, we have a look into fixes at Sugo, and we have new cross-kart cars that we might be able to use. So that's another thing that we can be excited for. Sinful currently in 5th place. And you can see here there's more battling for position here. Now Goliath continues his run. Manages to place his car perfectly into the first 2 corners here. He has actually made a dive bomb into turn 1. Hangs it around turn 2. Did the same move to Bolotev. And now Goliath is into he now has 3 more points than where he was in 15th. He's currently in 14th. Pauly currently outside the points as well as Richie Rod here. You can see here Sean Pauly tries to move around the inside of Bolotev. And Pauly just is almost able to clear Bolotev, but they're now side by side, I think. Bolotev's gonna try to dive it around the inside. There's no contact between them just yet. And now we have confirmation that Bolotev is currently in a position where he will score no points. Gaps definitely opened up between 5th and 6th. Oh yeah, that's definitely not a good sight for any other manufacturer that's not Lexus. Sinful already 10 seconds ahead of Champagne. Domaschnev with his personal best lap time. He's slowly I think, catching up to Clark. Clark is now caught up to Ill, who was at 6 seconds, now dropped down to 4.2. But remember, there are still pit cycles that every other driver needs to do. Hokizuhara Leo, his time to pit might be soon, around lap 15, lap 16. But we're gonna have to wait on the circumstances. Current situations at this racetrack in the Sepang 500 Split B race. Barger still in 9th. Now looking to be closer to Grant. Grant is still the best Honda currently in the field. Let's see if any of the Nissans and Hondas try to break the Lexus stranglehold in the top 5. Goliath slowly catching up to Goyena in 13th place, so he might be in for a top 10 finish given the circumstances. But others might argue that he should not be making that mistake in the first place. Domaschnev really keeping tabs with himself and Clark, being open to pit strategies at the moment. Zara Leo's time to be in the pits is coming soon. Might be this lap, might be next lap. We're hearing reports that other drivers might be considering a pit stop at this stage of this race. Maverick Ills currently banging in the fastest lap of this race at the moment, 2:05.528. Clark isn't responding with a 2:06.041. The gap is slowly opening back up to Maverick Ills' favor. Confirmation, Leo coming into the pits. First driver to have his car serviced for fresh amounts of fuel and fresh tires. So our Leo currently having his car serviced, while the drivers are continuing on as usual. And here is the crucial difference between Shazin Reza and Leo. At this time, the pit stop timing is, I think, okay, better than Shazin Reza, as he probably doesn't need to deal with lap traffic, because Leo have just exited the pit lane while everyone else is on the track, and the gap between himself and Rod are actually quite big. But here's the thing, he might have pitted way too early and he might have to pit again soon, but with the difference between him and Shazin Reza being that they one of them has to deal with traffic that's slow and in turn unable to pass them, Leo has definitely open air. He definitely has a lot of open free space to attack his car. So, well, not attack with his car, the Murasaki Shion Honda. So, he has just pitted, and he's now looking to find a way past Rod into the pit stops, of course. Well, he hasn't been guaranteed to pass Rod. Rod's just hanging around in 16th place. Let's take a look into some of the remaining drivers here. Again, Il fastest lap of this race, 2:05.237. That's a given at this rate. Domaschnev, of course, he is slowly getting closer to Clark. Clark, of course, is losing touch to Il. If they want to pit, they might have to wait until the next 5 laps. Some of them might be thinking for an overcut strategy, but I don't know if this would be the case. Anyways, let's take a look back into some of the other drivers here. Barger in 9th place. Right now, it's still looking good here. Let's see where Leo can find some improvements on his lap time. He's currently all alone on this racetrack. Not exactly all alone. He definitely is having this lonely moment here. Also, we need to note here that he is actually quite clear of Maverick Ill. So there is definitely a difference between some of the drivers here. Volatev looking for an opportunity against Apolli, but Golai have really gone up a few positions here, and right now he is actually getting close into Goyana and Wimberley. He might just be able to overtake the two in the next few laps. Another fastest lap for Maverick L 205.112. We did mention that 204s might be possible if circumstances are at his favor in terms of track conditions, tires, and fuel and the car conditions, and all that stuff. Maverick L having 204 lap time might just be in the car. The high 204s might just be something in the realm of possibilities. There's really not much to talk about on this racetrack, so let's talk about something related to Hololive members. I hope everyone is able to comment in the chat room, sharing their opinions. Looking into some of our title contenders here, Sinful is having a pretty decent racer inside the top 5. Sinful is only the second driver in the history of the drivers representing Natsuiro Matsuri to win for Natsuiro Matsuri. And obviously Sinful is not exactly a Matsurisu, not exactly much of a Matsurisu. He is still a very good driver here, and as a result he has seen victories, especially at Motegi, where he had to stave off a charging Kizuhara Leo. Good defensive driving for him. And he's currently regarded as one of the few up-and-coming drivers here in the ARO. Obviously, performances in Hololive GT3 aren't exactly like performances in Formula Hololive, especially in regards to how different these two cars are run. And speaking of performances at the moment, we're looking into a difference of strategy. For Maverick L, he's coming into the pits. The second driver to come into the pits at this time, it's Clark and Domaschnev's time to eke out an advantage before they come into the pits, maybe. L just needs a perfect range of circumstances for him, because right now he's pitting while everyone else is still racing between each other. And right now, he has a lot of drivers that he might need to think of. And if he's not careful, he's not going to lose a good amount of time. He'll just exist outside the track here. Wimberley and Goyena are just exiting this, in this main straight here. Il exits in 10th. But he still has Antanarov, Barger, Grant, Shakib Reza, Champagne. He still needs to deal with them. That is, if they don't pit right now, and Il gets caught up in between them, he's going to lose a lot of time. Clark might just be in a position to win this race, and that is if Domaschnev finishes 3rd or lower, Jeff Clark will be the winner, will be the Split B title winner. And Tarao currently looking for a way past Barger in 8th place. We haven't really passed the halfway portion of this race just yet. We're So lap 17, I think we've already passed 1/3. And for Goliath, he has actually caught up with Danilo Goyena. He's currently in turn 9 as well, but let's see how close he is. Oh, yep, he's definitely close. Let's see if Goliath can try to attack. A notation that Jeff Clark is currently leading this race for Nakiri Ayame. Obviously, the Ayame car have won here in Sepang before at the hands of Callum Gibbons. First driver to win in both splits. First driver to win for 2 Hololive VTubers. And of course, Jeff Clark aims to be the second winner for Nakiri Ayame. And there has been a change of positions here as Daniel Barger becomes the next driver to peel into the pits, representing the Gen 0 member of Hoshimachi Suisei. Sinful in 4th place, of course, having already dealt with ill pitting. There's still Pauly, Bolatev, and Barger. You can see here, Leo's last lap was actually a 2:06.808, so he's definitely having a lot of time gain, and he's definitely using this undercut strategy to good effect. So don't be surprised if Leo jumps up a few positions and probably ends up in 8th place or something. And remember, I think Leo was behind Barger, and now Leo is ahead of Barger. Leo have definitely stolen a position based on that strategy. Still has a lot of drivers who have yet to pit, in particular Rod, Bolate, Pauly, Goliath, Goyena, Wimberley, and Tanarao, Grant, maybe Shakib Reza and Champagne. But right now, Leo's in a position to maybe get into the top 10 finish. Will there be more changes in this pit cycles? You can see here Clark have definitely opened up the gap here to Domaschnev, so that actually is helping Clark by quite the margin. And if things go Ill's way, Ill just might be able to exit in 2nd place. And in this case, Clark might be in a position to win the Split B championship. And this might be a crucial moment in this race. That is if Domaschnev and Clark, if Domaschnev isn't being careful. Clark is currently in a position needed to basically win the Split B title, but for now, we're just it's going to be a case of wondering how it's going to be. Another driver coming into the pits, Altasir and Tanarao. He had Kizuhara Leo behind him, and Tanarao still having his car stationary. Leo is coming out of the final turn to finish his lap. 18 laps complete for Kizuhara Leo, and Tanarao just gets out, but Kizuhara Leo is already well on his way onto the main straight. He is going to be stealing another position away from Tanarao. Yes, he does. Another net position gain for him. He was skirting inside the top 10 into the top 9. He might just be in contention for maybe top 6, top 5. Don't count out Leo just yet for at least a good result for the Shiokos. He might just be out of title contention as it stands. Well, at least for the Split B title. For the overall and knockout title, that of course is going to start in September. While for the overall title, it's going to continue in September. But anyways, Clark and Domaschnev opening up a gap between each other. Clark is in a very good position here. 2:05.408 for the Nakiri Ayame driver. Domaschnev 2:06.066. Clark has definitely gained a lot of time here. And right now, it's his time to attack. Attacking at the right time. Maverick Ill hasn't really caught up into the back of Alex Grant. Ill has not been seeing a lot of pace against other drivers here. You can see here some drivers have already elected to pit. That is, some of them being Zach Champagne, 206.819 for Maverick Ill. He hasn't been seeing a lot of improvements on his lap time, but he might be thinking in the later stages of this race. But right now, Ill is actually slower than Domaschnev, who has yet to pit. The shuffling of the order continues. You can see here Kizuhara Leo coming into the final corner. Let's see how many more positions he can steal, especially for Champagne, who is literally at the front end of the Nissan Honda pack. Kizuhara Leo is currently barreling down the main straight. It might just be close. I think actually it's not even close. Kizuhara Leo jumping Zach Champagne, who was running 6, means that Kizuhara Leo have definitely aced the strategy to the greatest of extent, and now Kizuhara Leo might just be in a net P6. We still have drivers who have yet to pit. Clark, Domaschnev, Ricky, Sinful, Shakib Reza, Wimberly, Goyena, Golisle, Holly, Molatev, and Rod. These drivers have yet to pit, and right now, looking at Kizuhara Leo, he's looking very good indeed to steal more positions. It's a Gen 5 battle between Il and Shakib Reza. Here is the moment of truth. If Il can get past Shakib Reza with ease, in one fell swoop, that he might just be able to mount a winning charge against Domaschnev. But looking into Domachnev's last laps, which have been hovering in the 206s, Il, I think, have definitely caught up with Shakib Reza, but even without being too close to Shakib Reza, Il has definitely been slower. Wimberly coming into the pits from what should be 6th place. He's definitely going to be overtaken by Leo at this rate. Block and Domachnev's gaps definitely they have definitely slowed down here, so nothing much as it stands. But it has opened up slightly. It's now gone down to 4 seconds. Gone up to 4 seconds. You can see here, Kizuhara Leo have finally cleared Wimberly, and of course, having to deal with all the other drivers here. And I think this means that he will be shuffled down to last place. Rod and Golisle are currently 8th and 11th respectively. But remember, you can see here that Shakib Reza has been cleared by Maverick Il. Shakib Reza is going to try to hang around the outside to at least give Il some kind of headache. And yes, of course, Shakib Reza manages to defend against Maverick Il despite having the worst tire. Shakib Reza definitely on the attack against his own Gen 5 teammate, that is Maverick Il. And Il's nightmare run probably has to continue at this rate. He had the power to control this race, but now you get to see Maverick Il trying to clear Shakib Reza, but I don't think it's going to be over just yet. Remember, the Nissans have superior straight line speed. Shakib Reza might just be able to contest this battle again. Trying to hang around the outside of turn 15, but I don't think it's going to be the best move. Remember, negative camber on that final turn, but at least Shakib Reza has that slipstream coming into turn 1. Lap 22 of this race, Shakib Reza has the inside line, has to lift off just a bit, has to check up against Maverick Il. Shakib Reza hanging around the inside, but will it be enough? Oh, there's a bit of a lapse in judgment again for Shakib Reza here, and that will mean that Maverick Il gets back up to 5th. Daniil Goyena hits. We're gonna take a short break on lap 23 to rest the throat just a bit. We're gonna be coming back on around the start of lap 24 or lap 25. We're gonna be coming back to you in a bit. So just wanted to recap. Maverick Hill had his race in the bag. Wasn't as dominant as Gibbons, but manages to have a good amount of gap against Clark and Domaschnev. But right now, with him being slower than expected, Hill might not be able to be in a position to contest this race lead. Barger has the fresher tires, but of course Antanera have also pitted as well. Champagne, Leo. We have about 8 drivers who have already pitted. The rest of them have yet to pit anyways. Plus, Domaschnev finally coming into pit. Will this undercut strategy prove fruitful for Domaschnev as he tries to point his way back into title contention? Because right now, as it stands, Jeff Clark will be the Split B champion. But anyways, with lap 23 starting, we're going to take a short break. We'll be returning to lap 24 or lap 25. You're now currently watching the Sepang 500 Split B race, the title decider for the Split B season, Hololive GT3 Japan Series for 2023. Back in action here in the Sepang 500 Split B race. Jeff Clark currently trying to get his way into contention here. Domaschnev, we're going to look at the next lap to see how Domaschnev performs in this new stint relative to Jeff Clark. And that is if Richie and Sinful are able to maybe steal away something against Domaschnev. Of course, Richie and Sinful car currently off of the title as it stands. $207,569 for Maverick Hill. Some guys might be thinking maybe we can do an overcut strategy as it stands, but right now gonna need to wait for Domaschnev to complete this this lap to see if he's actually better or worse than Richie, Sinful, and Clark. Just Sean Galal coming into the pits. Kizuhara Leo have definitely bossed the strategy around, but the only thing that might be an issue right now we're going to be looking into the tire wear come the end of this race. He might just be a sitting duck at the end, but we're going to have to wait and see if his pace falls off at the end. Shaki Reza, Sean Pauly, Daniel Bolatev, and Richie Rade have yet to pit. And Goliath had just been overtaken by Wimberley. Goliath is going to be drawn down to last, but remember, he has fresh tires that he can use to his advantage. He can definitely try to pass Wimberley and Guyana with ease once he warms up the tires. Jeff Clark finally coming into pit, and here is Domaschnev just exiting turns 12 and into turns 13 and 14. This might just be the pit that might decide the season. 50 points, about nearly 50 points is the gap between Domaschnev and Clark. If Clark can score 50 more points, 50 more points than Domaschnev, then it's going to be Jeff Clark's championship. Jeff Clark exits the pit lane with a comfortable gap. It should be at about maybe 10 seconds. In this case, Ricci might just be ahead of Domaschnev once the pit cycle comes. But as it stands, okay, well, it's it's around 7.5 seconds. So if Clark doesn't put a move on here, or if Domaschnev can, or if Domaschnev really slows down dramatically at the end of this race, we might just be seeing a Domaschnev championship for Akirose. Richie Rock coming into pit. We have confirmation here that it's not going to be enough. Looks like Leo might have pitted the earliest out of anyone, but I think he has miscalculated his fuel load, so he'll have to pit a second time. Oh, it's a bit unlucky there for Leo. He had been having a good run in this Mercedes on Honda, but now he'll have to pit again. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. And hopefully the damage is minimized. But here's the thing, he'll have the freshest tires out of anyone so far. So that's going to be that. He might just be able to be very aggressive in attack. Current battle that we might want to take a look here is Sean Galisle and Zeke Wimberly for the final points positions. Sean Galisle had to pit quite late into this race, and right now Galisle might just be in a position to steal a position through sheer raw engine power. You can see here how much these tires are screeching at turn 7 and 8. You can see the tire marks at that corner. Just shows you how much grit that they want to extract from these cars. Anyways, Hololive talk imminent. The Minataqua ride is currently looking for an opportunity against the Okami Mio car, whom historically have been okay to in terms of settling with mediocrity. Even Okami Mio admits as such, he might not be the best, but she'll at least try to be in a position where she can definitely bring smiles to other people. Anyway, speaking of people, the pit crew are currently servicing for Jackie Reza and Sean Pauly, who are currently pitting in this lap. Leo will have to pit this next lap due to fuel issues. Volatev remains the last few drivers who have yet to pit. Looking at the gap between Domaschnev and Clark, Domaschnev really closed the gap to 7 seconds. For Ricci and Sinful, Clark is literally hoping that these two drivers might finish ahead of Domaschnev for Clark to win the Split B Championship. Currently, it's going the way of Domaschnev. We're going to need to pay attention to the pace differences to Ricci and Sinful. Because learns of Ricci, he has come into the pits and looking into where Domaschnev is currently. He's currently at the exit of turn 12 and now into turns 13 and 14. Ricci comes into the pits. Let's see if he can exit ahead of Domaschnev but behind Clark. That is what Clark needs in order for him to win the Split B Championship. Ricci remains stationary. Clark coming into the main straight at turn 1. Coming into the main straight. Ricci still stationary. Domaschnev is currently in the main straight. It's gonna be close and tight. It's going to be close. It's not. Lorenzo Ricci exits behind both Domaschnev and Ill, and now Clark's sole hope now lies on Johan Sinful. If Sinful can at least have a good delta on his last lap before pitting, and have a very short pit duration, he might just be the guy that would exit ahead of Domaschnev but behind Clark. Kizaru, of course, having to pit, and now is official. It has to pit again due to a pit stop miscalculation. Well, remember here, you can see here, Ill and Ricci have probably looking to have better pace than Domaschnev, maybe, but it's currently not known yet. Goliath has cleared Zeke Wimberly, confirmed. Now Goliath needs to clear Danilo Goyena. Sean Goliath needs to get himself back into the top 10. Ron and Paulie go tit for tat. Zaharlio exits in last place. Well, Johan Sinful is not going to be enough. Even if he doesn't pit and runs through the end of this race, it's not going to be Johan Sinful's championship. Looking into the permutations, he has to make sure, he has to be, Domaschnev must finish 6th or lower, but right now Domaschnev is in 3rd, so it's not going to be Sinful's championship. He might just close the gap, but it's not going to be enough for him to steal the lead of this Split B championship. Daniel Barger looking for a way past Antanarao. He knows he's basically racing for pride at this point, and also to get good form coming into the knockout for stages of the season. Goliath against Goyena. Goliath getting close. 27 laps complete here in the Sepang 500 Split B race. Daniel Balatev becomes the last driver to pit, at least for the Nissans and Hondas. The Lexus cars, Johan Sinful, have yet to pit. I think it's going to be an inevitability that Johan Sinful, if he pits this lap, he's going to be not in a. It's not going to be in a position where he might just be able to give Clark the championship. John Goliath have still yet to clear Danilo Goyena for 11th place, but he is looking to try. Night has fallen here in Sepang. It's been still a pretty warm night, remember, near the equator, so that's one of the obvious. Sinful coming into pit, that is the call. But it's not going to be enough for Sinful to stay ahead of his fellow Lexus compatriots. The Lexus cars have definitely showed up. Up to this point, the gap between Ricci and Champagne happened 46 seconds. Just shows you how good these Lexus cars have been. Maybe too good. So that's why there has been this directive lulling around the paddock that there may be some changes to the Lexus cars. Clark steals this race lead. But here is the big and crucial moment. Domaschnev is now in 2nd place, in a position where he can definitely be the Split B champion. The differences between Clark and Domaschnev are currently 25 points. It's not going to be enough for Clark to win the Split B championship. Domaschnev, it will just have enough points to hang on. Just keep monitoring of the situation. Let's just keep monitoring the situation. Sinful currently in 5th place. The one that has the best tires out of anyone so far. But for Ill, at this point, Clark needs to hope that Maverick Ill gets get going and hopes that he can pass Domaschnev. Bolatev has currently exited turn 14. Clark enters turn 9, which means that the threat of lap cars might not be as strong as one may think, but we're just gonna need to keep monitoring the situation as it stands. Goliath isn't close enough to Goyena, so Goliath will stay 12th. Current situations here, Barger in 8th place. Keeps himself busy with Antanarao and Champagne. Champagne having a very solid debut. He's still currently best of the rest, 6th place. For Maverick Ill, it's a race where he definitely could think that he might be seeing some improvements. Oh, it's not looking good for Jeff Clark. Ill is only slightly slower than Domaschnev that previous lap. Clark wants Ill to be slightly faster than Domaschnev at least, if they don't really get into that lap traffic that much. But looking into the guys at the back, the lap time of the guys at the back, they're only lapping at around 2:07.9 at this rate. So they're only gaining on them by 2 seconds a lap, and right under 16 laps to go. So they, if you want to take a look into the gaps between the leader, looking at Bolatev, he's only 1 minute and 33 seconds, so it might just go down to the final few laps. Tense stuff for all the Nakirigumi watching, but there's also the intensity amongst the Rosenthal are also very high as well. They know that either one of their talents, their Oshi, their favorite VTubers, might just come out with the Split B trophy. A tense environment here in this final stages of this race. We're coming into the final 16 to 17 laps here at the Sepang 500 Split B race. Hope everyone's enjoyed this race so far. You can drop a like, you can subscribe to this channel, hit the bell if you want to have notifications for future videos. Goliath looking for a shot against Goyena. It's not going to be pretty close, but Goliath is at least giving it a shot. He had been the fastest, best of the rest in terms of qualifying, 6th place start. Now drops down to 12 after that mistake in lap 2. Everyone else they're basically driving a pretty decent race. Found Goliath having a good amount of racing here to entertain the Aqua fans, which definitely brings a smile on their face. Well, for Kizahara Leo to what could have been, it's a similar case to Shad and Reza, but actually it is slightly worse. Looking at Clark is currently coming into turn 7 and 8. Olate is currently at turn 12. So the leaders are actually slowly catching up to the lap cars. And looking into the last laps of some of these drivers here, Barger and Grant are actually pretty slow. 2:08 for them. But for the guys at the back, we have Leo Bolata setting at 2:07s. Clark and Domaschnev are currently setting 2:05s. The Akirose Lexus is in a position to attack. and currently is in a position to win the Split B Championship as it stands. Second place, it should be enough for Domaschnev to secure the Split B title by around 20 plus points. Akirose, of course, having quite the amount of appearances in Origin uniforms, definitely helping Domaschnev a lot by giving him a good amount of lap time to work with. Good amount of laps to work with. In terms of the possibility of lap cars, it's gonna be hard to tell if Domaschnev can really gonna be catching up with lap cars, which have definitely gotten closer to ill now. It was around a second, but it's now dropped down to 0.7 seconds. Clark is doing everything in his power to try to win this Split B Championship. He's already in this best position possible, but he knows that unless Domaschnev drops down to third or below, it's not going to be going to the Nakirigumi. It's going to go to the Rosenthal and Aki Rosenthal. Of course, Nakirigumi will also get it if the Clark gets the trophy with the Nakirigumi. Just gonna take a slightly short break here to rest the droid just a bit. We'll be coming to you shortly. Back at Sepang, currently it's a case of Maverick Ill losing touch to Domaschnev. Domaschnev just hanging around in second place. Jeff Clark just coming into the main straight. Volatev is currently coming into turn 4. 205.756 for Jeff Clark, 207.497. So only if basically a half a second, or rather just about 1 to 1.5 seconds gain onto the drivers at the back. So Sinful currently 5th place for Natsuiro Matsuri. He has had his highest of highs last round out at Motegi, having to, of course, stave off charging Leo. Went so well for him, obviously coming home with the win. But obviously, he's currently not in a position to win the Split B Championship by any means. Down in 5th place, where he needed to win and hope that the drivers in front basically have a poor result. Gazora Leo currently outside the points, having to pit twice. I'm not sure where that strategy comes from, but it happens. I mean, he's also got to be pretty frustrated with that. I mean, he hasn't been at his fastest. Of course, not even the fastest Honda in this regard, so that has definitely stung himself quite hard. You can see here, Ricci is going to try to challenge himself against Ill, but they just couldn't get close enough to each other. Volatev just exiting turn 3. Clark currently in the main straight. There could be a potential for lap cars, but we're gonna have to keep monitoring of the situation, see how it goes. If Clark can hold up Domaschnev and maybe give an opportunity for Ill and Ricci to maybe overtake Domaschnev, there might just be hope for Jeff Clark to win the Split B Championship. Okay, it's a bit dirty, and it is a bit reminiscent to what Lewis Hamilton did in 2016 when he was trying to win the 2016 F1 World Championship. He had to hold up Nico Rosberg in anticipation that Verstappen and Vettel would put him down in a position where he knows he could win the championship. Right now we're coming into 13 laps to go. Jeff Clark currently in the middle of things. Obviously Clark has that Singapore license with him. So obviously Singapore is only 300 plus kilometers away from Sepang. 330 kilometers mean that it's actually his spiritual home race in this regard. Jeff Clark currently leading this race, but as we've mentioned before, he is definitely just hoping that things go his way in a way that Domaschnev goes down to third place or lower. Kizuhara Leo still trying to find a way past Paulie, but Paulie's not going to make it easy for Leo. 1 point up for grabs. For Kizuhara Leo, he knows he could do more, but currently he's trying his absolute best. 2:05.6 for Jeff Clark in comparison to 2:07.4 for Daniel Bolota. Now the gap has definitely closed back up. There's a bit of a battle here between Grant and Barger. Barger now coming around the outside of Grant into turn 9. Will Barger hanging around the outside? I think the answer is yes. Daniel Barger hangs it around the outside to steal 8th place from Alex Grant. Looking into the rest of the field here, Richie is getting close to Maverick Ill. Apologies if we have to do some momentary pauses just to rest the throat and to monitor the current situation. So of course, there's only one commentator here as it stands, so obviously it's a bit difficult. Chucky Reza still just inside the top 10, just like his brother. Volatev is currently coming into turn 15. Not quite close enough though, but for Jeff Clark, he is getting closer and closer. You can see that the gaps have definitely closed down. When we last checked, it was at 1 minute and 33 seconds. Now dropped down to 1 minute 42 seconds. Well, just ask yourself, is it too late for Clark to maybe get a chance to win? Maybe steal a bit of for him to close on the lap card. He is doing his absolute best here. He's doing his absolute best given the circumstances of the pace of the car. But of course, we just ask, is it going to be enough? Well, you can see here the Domaschnev have gained some slight amount of time against Jeff Clark. Not looking good in the case of the current race leader. It's not going to be enough at this rate. Domaschnev is just basically just chilling and all that stuff. He doesn't really have the need to think about making bold and brash moves. He knows that he's already in a position to win this Split B championship. The Lexus pack, 16 seconds between them. And the rest of them are Nissans and Hondas, which is actually very surprising to see, given the parity of this one. The Lexus just has been very strong recently. Altenrao, of course, is still unable to find a way past Champagne. Barger have already gone past Grand the previous few laps. We're gonna take another short break here to rest the throat. We're gonna be returning once lap 37 starts. We'll be returning to you shortly. Lap 37 has officially begun, and literally not much has changed. It's just an issue of these cars not being able to overtake as well. 10 laps to go here in Sepang, and currently there hasn't been much activity, so I don't know if we can just want to leave this here for all you car enthusiasts to listen to the engine noises, but I really just wanted to tell you on the current situation here. Now, if you want to talk about some of these rides and stories, if you want to talk about Cesaro Leo's campaign up to this point, it has been pretty solid. He has seen himself be in the championship lead. He has seen himself win a race for Murasaki Shion. But for this time, it's really not going to plan. He's looking to finish outside points again, but it's going to be a pretty big. It's going to be a bit of a disappointment for Leo at this rate. But other than that win, he is pretty pleased of the season so far. He had told me about that. Just wanted to finish this season, finish the split season on the high, and just prepare for the knockout season next month. Natsuiro have been performing pretty admirably in Formula Hololive. Of course, finishing in second place at Autopolis in round 2 of Formula Hololive for Nekomata Okayu. So obviously he has done pretty well for himself up to this point. So he has a lot of reasons to be excited. Of course, he has replaced Sean Pauly and Sergei Petrov in that Nekomata Okayu car. And he was slated to drive for another VTuber in Hololive GT3, but of course in 2022 that hasn't been the case. But nice to see him back onto this racing scene, just to bring the Onigiria some smiles on their faces. He hasn't won a race just yet, but he definitely has potential. The gaps have not closed up between Il and Domaschnev. Jeff Clark is just doing, like we mentioned, the best he can at this stage. He's currently in the best position. And looking at the gaps here, Bolatev and Clark, the gaps have, I think, closed down just a bit. But is it going to be enough? 9 laps to go here, and you know, the gaps needed for basically support interference for these lap cars are currently about 205, 206, 207. Right now for Plaza Domaschnev is currently set at 140, so there might be no issues of lap cars as it stands. The gaps between the Nissans and the Lexus cars are actually quite crazy. Already 1 minute and 5 seconds. Zach Champagne currently in a position where obviously he hasn't done, he's doing the best he can, but is it going to be enough? We just don't know. Well, if you want to talk about our prospects in your Hololive GT3 debut, Champagne has been doing pretty well for the equipment that he has at the moment. Maverick Ill knows he could win this race, but things just didn't go his way, so that, of course, hampered things. The gas had closed down between Domaschnev and Clark. For Domaschnev, he doesn't need to think about winning this race. As long as he's in second, he's in a guaranteed position to win the Split B championship. In terms of this battle for the best of the rest right now, Antanarao and Champagne are currently trading blows between each other. But as it stands at the moment, Barger are currently settling into 8th place. Shakib Reza currently in 10th. Richie still not being able to catch up to Ill, and right now it's a pretty quiet contest coming into the final stages. But looking into the guys at the back, especially for guys like Volatev, Leo, Pauly, and Rod, they're currently in this pack for 14th place. It might just not be lost on Jeff Clark to try to hold himself up against Domaschnev and Ill, in just hoping that Ill and Orichi might just be able to pass Domaschnev, but he really might just need the intervention of lap cars. If the pace fall off at the guys at the back are greater than the guys who are at the front, especially for Kizaru Leo, who are only setting 208s, and right now the guys at the front are setting 205s, it's really just not lost on them to maybe, just maybe, have this late race scare for Domaschnev. Lexus having a massive field day, well, a massive field weekend with a lot of their Lexus cars finishing inside the top 5. There has been one field, there's been a single exception to that, but other than that, it has been an amazing showing for Lexus. Maybe too amazing of a showing. That we mentioned that there will be a new technical directive for the Lexus cars. They may be receiving slight adjustments to performance to basically limit their dominance on certain tracks. Here's Volatev coming into turn 11. Jeff Clark is currently at... Wait, no. The Volatev is currently barreling down the back straight. Jeff Clark currently at turn 12 and 13 and 14. If he can clear the lap cars while the Domaschnev couldn't, and that in turn allows Il to get back into it. And here's another battle here between Alex Grant and Shakib Reza. Another Gen 5 battle brewing between the two. Shakib Reza hangs around the outside, now into the inside, but I think he has made contact with Alex Grant. Grant's now up to 9th place. 208.021 for Volatev. Let's see how much time Clark is able to steal. 205.616, 2.5 seconds faster. So right now we're into this final 5 laps of the Split B race. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Jeff Clark, or is it going to be Vlasa Domaschnev? We'll just have to wait and see. Volata just exits turn 4. Clark comes into turn 3. It's now way closer than ever before between the drivers at the front, at the back. He just needs to play these lap cars with ease, or better yet, give Domaschnev a hard time and wheeled him into Maverick Il or Lorenzo Ricci. Right now they have 5. He has 5 left to maybe think of a master plan to maybe get themselves into a battle here. But right now Clark is still trying to put his pedal to the metal. Remember, 2.5 seconds a lap gain. Looking into the gaps here at the moment, it's now, well, the gap between Molotov and Clark now 1.54 seconds. Maybe it's not going to be enough after all, but Clark is hoping that he might just be able to get his noses in. Looking into some of the current battles here at the moment, it's still the status quo for multiple other drivers. Rod, Pauly, Leo, and Molotov occupying the bottom 4 spots. 208.6 for the guys at the back, especially for Molotov. Jeff Clark 205.658. That is, we have confirmation that the drivers in front are gaining on the guys at the back by 3 seconds. Molotov currently in turn 3. Jeff Clark is currently navigating turns 1 and 2. There might be some battles brewing. There might just be hope for Clark. Domaschnev might just have only one obstacle to clear. But will it be enough? There's a battle between some of the other drivers here. We have Grant and Barger. Grant is currently having a good comeback here. He's now currently in 8th place, but Barger might have something to say about it. Hangs it around the outside very well to shove Grant on the outside line at turn 10. Akirose might be able to sniff an opportunity. It's now definitely closing up. Molotov is currently navigating turn 11. Clark just exits turn 9. The gaps are now closed up more than ever. There might be late race drama, late excitement and late drama forthcoming for a lot of these drivers, especially for the guys at the front. If he can maybe get closer to Domaschnev, he might just be able to block Domaschnev, but that in turn is a very risky move. If he's not careful, he might just lose second place. He might just lose the lead to Domaschnev, and it's game over for him. He needs Domaschnev to finish 3rd or lower for Jeff Clark to win the Split B Championship. Currently, it's in Vlasa Domaschnev's hands. Lap 43 is about to begin, and currently Clark have really closed his gap between the guys at the front and at the back. Turn 1 for Molotov. It's forecasted that Clark is going to deal with Molotov and the guys at the back by about lap 45. But the gaps between himself and Domaschnev are 6 seconds, so it might just go down to the final lap, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But Clark is giving it a try. As it stands, all of the drivers are going to finish on the lead lap. If Clark isn't able to pass these guys and put them a lap down. Lap 43 of this race is, well, there's really not much to talk about here, but we can probably talk about the journey of Aki Rosenthal. And her story is actually very nice, is actually quite the inspiration. Now, Aki Rosenthal has been known to be one of the lesser members in terms of popularity. But Akirose is, despite knowing that she's not going to be as popular as other members like Usada Pekora, Hoshimachi Suisei, Galgura, or something like that, she just keeps trying to bring smiles on everyone's faces. She had contemplated to quit entirely because she's not popular enough. But through perseverance, Akirose have definitely shined to be quite the valuable member here in the Hololive. It doesn't matter if the Hololive member is popular or not. If she does what she needs to do, and if she can blossom even at this day and age, they can do it. She can do it. They can do it. And all that stuff. Akirose can definitely find ways to succeed. Even if she's not the most popular, she is definitely hardworking and definitely someone that deserves respect for what they've been doing. And for Vlasa Domaschnev, it also applies for him. He was a dark horse contender for the 2022 regular season in Split B, but in the postseason the performances just fell off. Crashes and poor performances that were enough for him to not make it into the main race and all that stuff, derail his postseason chances. But for Split B, he has nothing but performances. He has shown to everyone every now and then that he has a lot of skill behind the wheel of that race car. Now, Akirose Lexus, he has shown himself to exhibit and basically inhibit, well, not exactly inhibit, but he has shown that he has the same qualities of that of Akirose. And as it stands, Vlasa Domaschnev can get one of the big prizes in the Hololive GT3 Japan Series, and that is the Split B trophy. He knows that the overall title is out of reach now with Callum Gibbons' dominant run. With lap 45 starting, we now have confirmation that Clark have definitely caught up with Daniel Bolatev at the back. Clark is at least trying to think about putting Bolatev a lap down. You can see here the guys at the back and the front have converged between each other. Will lap cars be a nuisance? We'll have to wait and see. Into turn 1 here for Bolatev. He has for Bolatev, it's pretty much up and down. He hasn't shown that he has had enough pace. Yes, Tokuya Mitoa is a talented VTuber, but sometimes VTuber's talent doesn't necessarily translate to performance on the racetrack. And as for Daniel Bolatev, he has not been having a very good season with the Kenzoka and all that stuff. But he is pretty decent in Formula Hololive. If you look at what he did in Formula Hololive, he is actually 18th in that series. But in Hololive GT3, it's pretty much almost a season to forget. Before coming into Sepang, he's basically 33rd in the standings. You can see here, Jeff Clark looking for a way past Bolatev, but he's actually being held up just a bit. Could Vlasa Domaschnev be able to steal the race lead after all against Jeff Clark? Or will Jeff Clark hang on to ultimately win this race but still lose the championship? These are the dilemmas that these two drivers in front are currently facing. Richie and Il are getting very close together, but right now they're a bit too close for comfort. You can see here there has been some contact between Richie and Il. Or there might be some contact. Well, it could be some from another driver in particular. There was a lap 1 contact. We apologize. Yeah, that has been the same damage for lap 1. Maybe, but we'll have to pay attention to circumstances. Jeff Clark still stuck behind Daniel Bolatev. The last lap is about to start. Jeff Clark might just be a few points short of Vlasa Domaschnev in the pursuit for the Split B trophy. The final lap begins here for the Sepang 500 Split B race. The final lap of the split season here in Hololive GT3. Of course, there's still Formula Hololive to deal with, but that's going to be next week. Domaschnev getting close to Clark. Clark still not finding any opportunity to get past Volatev. I think it's just going to be barely enough for Clark to win this race, but it's going to be a win that's going to be overshadowed by Domaschnev's Split B Championship triumph. Into the S, turn 5 and 6. Still looking to be held up by Volatev. Things have moved down the inside, has the better acceleration than Volatev. Has a lot of speed into turn 6, but a dive bomb. Not close enough to Volatev, not ruthless enough. Domaschnev is sniffing for an opportunity to maybe steal this race lead after all. Still, Clark could not make the pass on Volatev. And here comes Domaschnev looking for an opportunity to put the seal on the deal in this Split B Championship. We talked about Akirose's struggles and how she's now blooming to be one of Hololive's reliable talents. Domaschnev is also blooming to be one of the best drivers in the ARO and in Hololive GT3 especially. Coming around the final corner, Jeff Clark will look to win the Sepang 500 Split B race, but it's going to ultimately come down to Vladislav Domaschnev as he secures the Hololive GT3 Japan Series Split B Championship. Maverick Ill comes home third in his debut race. No one goes a lap down. Volatev really gave it a good amount of whack against Jeff Clark here. Jeff Clark finally wins his first Hololive GT3 race. But it's going to be overshadowed by this man who have won the Split B Championship by about over 20 points. Congratulations to both of these drivers for putting up a good fight. There had been some late race scares, there could be some late race drama. But overall, these two drivers have shown to everyone that they've got some racing quality. Richie settles with 4th place, Sinful 5th. Zach Champagne still leading this best of the rest table here as he is currently 6th place over Antara on 7th, Barger 8th, Grant 9th, Shakavreza is in 10th, Goyana is in 11th, Golile 12th, Wimberly 13th, Rod and Paulie make out the final points positions. Kizuhara Leo, a case of what ifs for him. He has lost 4 positions from the start. He has got some very good mid-race performance, but obviously strategy eluded him. It happens in races. I mean, it happens. Zeke Wimberly started last, gets into the points after all. Alex Grant having the best gain out of anyone so far. 4 positions gained from the start. He started 13th, he's now up to 9th. Zach Champagne in his debut race finishes 6th. Antonio 7, Barger 8, Grant 9, Shakareza 10, Goyen 11, Golile 12, Wimberly 13th, Rod 14th. Sean Pauly finishes in the final position inside the points. Leo and Volatev finishes at 16th and 17th. Outside the points, bit of a disappointment. So with that out of the way, let's just share with you the final results of the Split B Championship. And looking into the order here, Jeff Clark might have won this race. First win for him, congratulations. But it's going to be Vladislav Domaschnev who wins the Split B Championship with an amazing run of form that no other Split B driver could beat. Maverick Ill, first Hololive GT3 race with Shiro Botan, finishes solidly in 3rd place. Lorenzo Ricci and Johan Sinful complete a basically perfect Lexus run. Lexus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a top 5 lockout. Amazing stuff from Lexus, but it's going to be short-lived as nerds might be coming out. Zach Champagne, best of the rest in his debut for Amanikada. He did pretty well. Alcer and Tenera and Daniel Barger dice with themselves. 7th and 8th for them, for Okayu and Suisei. Alex Grant, 4 positions gained from 13th. One of the drivers of the day. So he is in 9th place for Yukana Lami. Chakib Reza 10th place for a decent top 10 finish for Momosu Nene. Daniel Goyana for Sada Picora finishes 11th in car number 11. Sean Golau has got some good performance in him. Let's see if he can do more of this. Unfortunately, he did spin out in lap 2, which didn't help his cause as did Richie-Rock, but both of them have came back to score points, which is also nice to see. Anyway, Sean Golau represents Minato Aqua, Richie-Rock represents Shirakami Fubuki. Zeke Wimberly finishes 13th for Kamimiya, and Sean Pauli rounds out the final points finisher in 15th place for Inagami Korone. Kizaru Lee is what could have been a race for him as he finishes for the first time outside the points this season. And for Daniel Bolatev, this season of struggle continues for Tokoyami Toa. So we're gonna do a bit of an intermission here to save things up and to brush everything up to show you all the final championship standings for the split season and to show you the point standings after 4 rounds to prepare ourselves for the knockout seasons this September. But if you think there's gonna be enough action at Sepang, remember there's next week's is Formula Hololive weekend to look forward to. So I hope everyone is able to tune in into that as well. So into looking into the current championship order here, we just need to look into the intermission here to see what has happened. A bit of an issue here at the moment because the content manager has crashed. So and the results have not dropped. So we're probably gonna have to end the stream here. I hope everyone has enjoyed this Hololive GT3 Japan Series stream here, and we're gonna be sharing you the final standings for both Split B and the overall standings in the Adak-RMS Twitter channel. So with that out of the way, we hope everyone have enjoyed the stream, and everyone is looking forward for the Formula Hololive split season finale at Sepang. So in this case, I'm Muhammad Shahidin Reza, and this is the Hololive GT3 Japan Series season finale. Split season finale is the Sepang 500 split Sepang 500 kilometer races for both Split A and Split B.